So welcome to the webinar. We are extremely happy to put this on. It's been something that we've wanted to do for quite some time, and we didn't really have it put together as well as we should have earlier. We've got it put together, and it's our first time doing it, so there's a little bit of hesitancy on how we can present this, but we will do our best. It's great information. I've got Randall Souls here, who had a very good career as a remodeler for 34 years. This is his process that he created. He's also the creator of the Scientific Remodeling System, which is kind of a bundle of all his processes put together that he now sells, and he coaches construction companies as well. I used his processes for 10 years, long before Scientific Remodeling System ever came around. So I know they work, and it's what I attribute to the success that I had as a remodeler. So I'm really happy that you're here. I'm happy that Randall's here to share this with us. And if you can, just make sure you pay attention, because there's going to be a lot that we go through here. There will be a replay that you'll be able to see later, but anything, I'd encourage any questions that you've got, go ahead and put them in chat. I will be monitoring this, and we'll just go from there, and I'll ask the questions, where we can. So with that, Randall, take it away. I'm going to turn off my camera and hand this over to you. I will be looking at the chat. So
welcome. My name's Randall Souls. As David said, I'm the creator of the Scientific Remodeling System. And that is why I'm here today, because I like to tell everybody about this, teach this. It has served me well, and there's no reason I shouldn't pass this on to you. So we're going to talk about the ultimate design build sales process, how to sell more projects at higher prices. And let me start off with, some of you are subcontractors, some of you work as builders, some of you are just general contractors, remodelers. Business is business, and selling is basically selling. So you're going to get some tips no matter where you are in that lineup. You're going to get some good tips on how to sell better. But because I'm going to target the design build people, that's what I'm going to speak about. You just kind of put it in your own context. Now, this is a flow chart. You're going to get this as your bonus. And we're going to talk about every point in here. We have 4 big areas here: first visit, design visit, the second visit, and the project development. At the bottom is a small glossary that shows you what the terms mean. If you have been in construction, you know what scope is and project site and all that stuff. So I don't need to go over those. So if you're ready, we'll just get into this, the first visit. Now this is, to me, this is the beginning of your success. The first visit has to be set up very well, and you have to know what your objective is when someone calls you. That's a very basic things. But if I've named an assistant there, Paula, answers the phone, she needs to understand what the objective of the call is. So she has to find out what is the scope of the project, what is their budget, and to set up an initial consultation. That's the first big 3 items she has to do. So when you get a phone call, this is the most important place to start. You have to lay everything on the line right then and get people to buy into your system. So one of the ways you can answer a phone is, "This is Paula, I can help you." It's very confident, meaning I am here to serve you. When someone calls, you should have a lead sheet by your phone and fill it out. Our lead sheet, which is given to premium members at Scientific Remodeling System, is very easy to fill out. Like there There's the month, you just put an X there. And there's the day, put an X there. How many children do they have? Put an X there. How many rooms they have. So it's all very quick, because when you're on the phone, you don't have time to write things out very well. So use your lead sheet as your guide, and this will help you ask the right questions as you go through the conversation. Keep it conversational. You don't want to sound like you're reading a script at all. That turns people off. Ask them about their lifestyle. How do they live? Do they like to entertain? Do they travel a lot? Do they stay at home a lot? Do they have home offices? Their neighborhood, what kind of a neighborhood are they in? And kind of get a feel for their financial capability. That's very important. Money is going to come to play very soon, so get a feel for that. And make an appointment to meet with them. Now, a lot of times, the receptionist is not going to make the sales call. And this is a great buffer system, I think, because the salesperson now has time to look at the notes that she made, write those out, research them, and be very, very good on your research. This is how you do great sales calls. And then when you call, you're more prepared on what you're going to talk to them about. When you call, you want to lay out very clearly what's going to happen at this meeting, which we call the initial consultation. We're going to state, I'm really happy to come to your home, and I'll be there, October 15th at 10 o'clock in the morning. The stay, I'm going to be there for about an hour to an hour and a half. And you don't want to go over that. In fact, I'd just say, I'm going to be there about an hour, because they will try to use your time and keep you there more, but you can't do that. You have to move on. Ask them to have everything ready when you arrive to make the best use of your time. And we'll follow up on this in just a moment. And then lay out the sequence of your visit. This is probably the most important thing to do in this call, is lay out the sequence. And that means, I'm going to be at your house 10 o'clock. We are going to sit down. I'm going to go over the presentation book with you. And then I'm going to go measure the space. And then we're going to sit down again. And I'm going to give you a rough price for your project. And I'm going to give you a price for your design. See, we've already got that set now. So that's what you're going to do. Now, let's move on to the next step, the visit. Of course, arrive on time. If you are going to be even 5 minutes late, call them. Pull the car over, call them and say, look, I'm 5 minutes late. Sorry, I will be there. Don't park in front of mailboxes. Don't park where they look like somebody may need to pull out and you're blocking them during your sales call. When you get there, greet each person, hand each of them a business card, and don't show favor to any one person. That is a big mistake. I've had so many salespeople, and they will talk to the woman, or they will never look at the woman, and they'll just talk to the man like we're big buddies, and I don't know what she's doing here, So always pay equal attention to both people. One of them's going to be the person who's going to be making decisions. So you do need to peg that. People never remember what you just said on the phone. So you're going to reiterate the meeting, the agenda for the meeting. You've got to stay in control right now and all the way through the job. Do not let someone else control your time. Go over the presentation book. We mentioned that, and you can find out what those are and get a sample of those over at Scientific Remodeling System. Measure the project if that's appropriate, and then sit down again, review the scope of work with them. And this is another really key point. So you're going to say, okay, you said you'd like a new kitchen remodel, and you'd like new granite tops and some new lighting under counter and overhead also. And you'd like a place for you to work on your computer in the kitchen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And say, does that sound like the right thing? All this time you're thinking what this costs as you review this with them. And they go, yeah, you've got everything there. And you say, well, that is going to be roughly this amount. And this is where people get hung up, because this is your first visit. And how can you give them a price for their job? They haven't even picked out any materials. Well, if you're a newbie, you can't. If you've had 35 years in the business, you can, because you've got a lot of historical data to go by. And you know that, a kitchen of this status is going to cost probably $85,000. So you can say, we're looking at a range of about $75,000 to $90,000. And then you say, does that suit you? And when you say that, you don't say anything else. And then if they say, I'm not sure, then you will ask, why aren't you sure? If they say yes, then you say, okay, then I will give you a price for your design agreement, sign right here, and we'll move on. So this is the visit continued now. So the next thing after they've signed the design agreement is once again to set expectations. That is the key to all success, is setting expectations. Never leave anybody flying blind. Let them know what's going to come, and you'll be so much better off for it. Don't hide anything. So set expectations for the design visit. Set a date and time they're going to arrive, how long they're going to be there. And this is very important. What areas of the home will they need access to? When I do a bathroom that's upstairs, I need to know where the bathroom is under it. And so I'm going to be drawing and measuring all the upstairs that's relevant to this project and all the downstairs, and possibly go into the basement to measure there so I can find out where those drain stacks are and everything. So you need to say, I will need access to it could be the master closet. Let them know so they can clear out all their personal stuff and know you're going to go there. Don't spring this as a surprise to them. Is it okay to photograph? Seems like an obvious thing, but just respect them and say, I'm going to be photographing every corner of this space. So is it okay? And of course, they'll probably say yes, because you need those photographs for estimates. Tell them, does the client need to be there the whole time? If you say, I'm going to be here 4 to 6 hours, and that means you're tying them up for 4 to 6 hours, that is not good. Basically, you just need them to let you in, have a small meeting with them, get some ideas from them, and say, fine, I'll measure, and then we'll talk later. So set those expectations. Okay, then we're going back to the design visit. The designer should call the homeowner and confirm the appointment. Once again, reiterate the agenda, what you'll be doing, how long you'll be there, restate the areas you're going to have access to. It's just good communication, good setting expectations. So arrive on time, be prepared. I always have a kit that I carry that is just for this, and it has all the tools I need in it, tablets, everything, all the digital measuring, angle finders, all that stuff. Go over the space with the client. This is that beginning to get some ideas. Give them some of your ideas. And I tell you sell more projects by not just being a yes person and agreeing with everything they do. You sell more projects by saying, look, looks like you have a area over here under the stairs where we could put some really nice bookcases for you. or anything like that, where we can use space differently. And so give them some ideas how they could help you. I had a client I went to, and I came in and they said, we want a master bedroom. And I said, fine, what can I use? And they said, well, you can use this space and this space. And I'm going, do you have an attic? And they, yeah, we have an attic. I said, I would suggest that you put your master bedroom up there, and so the children aren't up here in their bonus room walking on your head all day and just being noisy. We can get a lot of space up there, and we sold that to them. They said, really like that idea. We gave them 1,100 square foot master bedroom, big sucker. And that is how you sell things. The other project would have cost half as much as what I proposed, and yet to this day, and I see him still, he is so delighted with that. So the last thing to do when you leave is tell them when they can expect the timeline. You know, when they can expect your estimate and your design. So this is the designer again. Photograph the space. I have a whole measuring and photographing process on Scientific Remodeling System, because this is a process too. When we measure a home, we go in a certain pattern. When we photograph a room and a house, we go in a certain pattern, and we shoot from every corner of the room. We shoot up, we shoot down, we shoot every electric switch on the wall and things like that. Thermostats, we need to know where the vents are, any burglar alarms. We're going to photograph all this stuff. So that's a process. You don't want to miss anything, because it's awful to go on a visit and then come back to the office and the estimator is doing the estimate and they don't have the right information. And then you have to call up and say, hey, would you measure between this window and tell me how much it is? And they'll say it's $1,000. Okay, second design visit. Now you have your conceptual drawing. Go back to them, see if they want any revisions, and if they do, you'll make those. And if you have an estimate at that time, you can present that to them or see if they're agreeable. If they're agreeable to all this, you're going to finalize the drawings. You're going to make your working drawings, your renderings, and your final estimate. And you're going to draw up a proposal. I call it a proposal. Some people just call it contracts. So the salesperson may be the person to close the sale, or it could be the designer, or it could be both. But you're going to present these final drawings to them and the proposal. Your proposal, which is also over on Scientific Remodeling System, all the contracts you need are over there, is to be very specific. Every model, every finish, everything. Do not leave anything to chance. And in the back of your proposal, I suggest you put copies of drawings and pictures of the products you're proposing. I also read the entire proposal to them. Again, I leave nothing to chance, no matter how annoying it is to them. I'm going to read the whole thing to them to be sure we got it right. And then after they've signed this and you've received your initial investment, that's your down payment, you set a date for the pre-construction conference, and we would go over that in detail some other time. David and I have talked about it plenty of times on Remodeling Business Blueprint podcast. But pre-construction conference next to a specific contract are next in importance. They work wonders, and this is why everything goes so smoothly. Once you have a good pre-construction conference, as far as I'm concerned, they can take a vacation because it's going to be built right. So that brings us to the end. I hope that was enough detail for you. I really appreciate you attending. If you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer them at this time. Just David's got a chat open so you can talk to him and he'll bring those up to me.
Randall, I did have a couple of questions that were sent in through email. And can you go ahead and just talk about that pre-construction conference just a minute? And, well, more than that, I guess you mentioned the podcast. Tell people how they can get that or listen to that, because that's another free resource we have for people.
Yeah, David and I do a podcast every week called Remodeling Business Blueprint. And you can find that on almost any podcast player, whether it's Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Overcast, which is my favorite. You can find that, or you can go to remodelingbusinessblueprint.com and pick it up there.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go through some of these questions we've got. One comment was just, it looks like a great way to sell anything. So I truly believe that selling is a psychology, and I know this worked well. Also, do you have any advice for getting new customers? So I think that's more around advertising. So, how do we get the customers so that we can do this sales process?
Well, we talked about a lot of ways to market, which is how you get new customers. Most people say they just use referrals, but more and more we have to rely on other media such as Facebook ads, which David is a specialist at. That's a great way to meet people and get the right targeted audience. Social media. I also advise people to have a very active website with a blog on it where they post, I would suggest at least once a week, an article. If you don't post consistently, don't have a blog, because there's nothing worse than looking at it and you go, the last blog was written in September 2015. You're like, why is this even there? And I've seen a bunch of those.
Right.
So blogging is a good way to do it. There's direct mail. We've gone over so many things. If you go back to our older episodes in Remodeling Business Blueprint, David, you're the marketing guru here.
Yeah, my advice is Facebook, and that there's just so much you can do with Facebook and Instagram. Of course, Facebook owns Instagram, so they kind of work hand in hand. But those really work well when done right. And we've got some more things we can talk about that. But Facebook is huge. It's just where people are, is on social media. So I also had a question. Can this be applied to a pool company?
I think absolutely, because what are you doing? You're selling. So somebody's going to call you up and say, I would like to have a pool in my backyard, and would you come take a look at it? So how is it any different? You go in, you sit down with them, you go over your presentation book, you show them there's these incredible designs, and you're going to have some beautiful pictures to show them. And then you're going to go look at their space. You're going to come back to the table and you're going to say, looks like this pool's going to cost you about $35,000. And is this something you want to start with? You might do a design for them. You might throw that in with your estimate for free. I don't know the pool business that well, but I know the selling business really well.
Very good. And then there's also, can you explain a little more about what the presentation book is?
The presentation book, I'll tell you what it should not be. It shouldn't be a photo gallery. That does not fit with my setting expectations. Oh, Lord. I got a big, sorry about that. Presentation book should be about setting expectations once again. So we're going to show our contracts in there. They're very boring, our contracts, but they're very important. Our certificate of insurance, anything we have to do with OSHA or our lead agreements. We are going to show in our contracts, we're going to show our proposal. And this is key. When we show the proposal, it's generic, but it also shows we're being very specific. It's a bogus proposal, but it has all the things in it there. And it also has the payment schedule. And this is your opportunity to set the payment schedule the way you want it. And for them to say, okay, because when they receive their contract, it's going to have the same payment schedule in it. And believe me, this payment schedule will set you ahead. You will be in the black from the very beginning if you follow this system. And that's in session 8 of your scientific remodeling system manual. So go over that with them carefully. Show them the design agreement. That means we expect to be paid for our design, and here's what you get.
What if you don't have a design agreement? Sorry, just something that came up, because not everybody will have a design agreement. I mean, is this?
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I do suggest people charge for their estimates, and I've written several articles on that. I would show them the reasons why you charge for estimates. But if you don't have design and you don't charge for estimates, you just skip that step. But do show them the documents that they can expect to see during that job. Change orders. Like if you want to put extra special tile around this pool and we don't have it in our original, this is what the change order is, and this is how it's going to be paid. And my payments are immediate. You want to add a $10,000 change order, I want to be paid 100% of that when we sign that payment, that contract. So you have to be kind of blunt about this, but this is how you stay ahead. You're going to stay in the black all the time like this.
Right. I think, too, the presentation book kind of legitimizes your business much more so than, like you were saying, if it's just photos or something like that. It just shows the legitimacy that you have a process. That's the way it always came out for me. So that was cool.
Think of the other contractor, the other guy that comes in and he talks to them. He's real nice. They really like him. And he leaves and you come in and you show them all this framework. And you know what they always say, even though this is boring, they always say, that is really professional. Always they say that. You are a real professional. And they feel confident in hiring you. So now we have built the trust that is so necessary to selling.
Right. I agree. Wholeheartedly. So lastly, you mentioned scientific remodeling system, and what all does that consist of? So I think in a nutshell, because I know everything that's in there and you're not going to be able to go through all of that, but just in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, you have the backbone of the system is the scientific remodeling system manual. And that is 12 sessions done in PDF format and audio. So you can listen to them in your truck. That's fine. Download. All this stuff is downloadable. We have 13 contracts, subcontractor agreements, proposals, change orders, pre-construction conference contracts, design agreement. Those are all in there, all in a form where you can just download them and modify them to suit your needs. And that's totally permissible. We have the standard operating procedure template. That's $1,000 value there. That is 45 pages and 200 pre-filled headings. And once you fill that out, you have basically the Bible for your company. And it can be as detailed as you want, or it can be as simple as you want. That is something you copy over, and you own that now. You can change it any way you want, but it took years for me to put that together, and it is a super standard operating procedure. Then we go on, we've got some spreadsheets, some marketing spreadsheets, some overhead budget spreadsheets.
Well, but overall, you've got the building processes in there to get the job done, the production part. You've got marketing covered, and you've got sales covered. Pretty much
Yep.
those three chunks, right? So I always say it's kind of a remodeling business in a box. I mean, that works already, or that it has worked and it is working for other people.
Yeah, we've had a lot of successful people use this. If you want a demonstration, if you'd like to go a little deeper into this, over on scientificremodelingssystem.com, you can click on the demo tab and go down to the calendar and pick a time that works for you. And I will show you around one-to-one on that.
Sounds good. Well, Randall, I think with that, I think we're ready to wrap up unless you've got anything else.
Yeah, we've got bonus downloads, so we don't want to forget those.
That's right. We did promise those. I think to be ethical, we better go ahead and give those.
And affluentcontractor.com, affluentcontractor.com/SRS-framework.
Yes, you can find that over there, and there's a couple of download buttons. You can get those. So,
have you got any other offers for them, David?
No, that's it. Just the download. So go ahead and get those. And with that, thanks everybody for being here. It's been great. And Randall, thanks for your time and sharing your knowledge with everybody. And I guess we will talk to everybody later.